Hey, welcome to Witching Hour Tarot. Hope you all are doing well. We are in full-fledged spring up here in the Northeast. I was just joking with some folks in the building that I live in that in 6-7 weeks we'll be in summer, and it's going to be pool time and light out until 9 p.m. So again, we're in that annual cycle, as we say. Definitely love this time of year and seeing the changes manifest. Hope everyone is doing well. Want to get right into it. I haven't done a reading, I think, in about a week or so. Just curious to know what's going on in the collective, as always. So let's see what's going on. I'm going to start with the Tarot of Sensual Magic. This is one of my favorite decks. I always mention that whenever I record, but I love the imagery, and any sort of artist that can recreate or give us a different image or different depiction of the meaning behind each major and minor arcana. I love that. I think it takes a lot of creativity and originality to do something like that, and this deck is definitely it. So let's see what's going on in the collective. Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is Pre-Empress. We've been seeing this card a lot. I love this particular image as well. It's very indicative of what a Nine of Pentacles is, and there could be some lustful obsession here as well, but Nine of Pentacles, it's Virgo energy, so it is earth energy. But with that, it's like basically Pre-Empress in the sense that you have everything that's going on for you. You're taken care of, you take good care of yourself, you have great relationships, you spend your time in the garden, picking roses for your own decor. There isn't a luxurious element to this as well, but you have everything kind of going on for you except for love. That's like the one missing pentacle in the Nine of Pentacles. Paris Hilton is a very good depiction of like what Nine of Pentacles energy, but even in a purer sense, maybe Ivanka Trump would be a better description of that. She's very a little less wild than Paris, I would say, and probably maintained a little bit more of her innocence because she wasn't subjected to such. She might have had better parents than Paris Hilton. So let's see. Just kind of giving a real life example of what the Nine of Pentacles represents. Pre-Empress energy. So the moon. I love the moon. This is one of the most mysterious cards in the deck, next to death. It's also one of the most complex cards, and it is Pisces energy. We just passed Pisces. We are in Aries season as of now. But the moon is all of life's mysteries. It's all of the things left unsaid. It's there's definitely a feminine mystique to it. So this is definitely someone whose feminine mystique has that element to them. Very mysterious, very magnetic as well. The moon is very magnetic in the sense that it does have that gravitational pull, which eventually developed to the oceans to have their own tides, and it led to ultimately the evolution of life on Earth because of the motion of the water and how it was able to stir up bacteria, and those bacteria became multi-cell multi-cell organisms, and developed into other little plankton kind of things, and went from there. Basically 4 billion years ago, the only life on this planet was plankton, and then over 4 billion years it's also evolved and unfolded the way that it has. So my point is a very magnetic, but also something that is always going to exist, and something that it's eternal in how it operates as well. Someone could like stargazing, someone could be into astronomy, astrology. It's so funny, and there's also a feminine mystique in the sense that the way that things do unfold, the likelihood of life evolving on Earth and infinite chances. I think in all of infinity, there's infinite chances of things happening like this, and we are also lucky also to have consciousness in the degree that we do as a species. So I just want to go a little bit deeper into my thoughts here, and just think about the moon also wasn't originally as close to the earth as it was at one point. It was hit by an asteroid because of the gravitational pull, and because of that, the way that the solar system was evolving, and then it was kicked a little closer to the earth, and I think that half a chunk of it did fall off and then also hit the earth and then develop the moon. It's just, my point is that the chances of the moon evolving here around this planet was 1 in infinity. And then from there, the chances of life evolving on this planet is 1 in infinity. And maybe we can't even find the actual statistic of like how we have gotten to where we have and the chances of us having a consciousness the way that we do. But I just want to use my train of thought here as an example, and maybe it will resonate with someone out there, with the complexity of this card, and then also the mysteriousness, like all the things that are left unanswered, like is there a God? Is there, how did the universe develop? Big Bang Theory, like that kind of thing. They're all just kind of theories. We don't actually know for sure. So there's that kind of magnetic pull here. So let's see how else this develops. The Hanged Man. Yeah, so this is like, I love this card. This is a really lovely depiction of it. This is, it's very sensual in the sense of how, not only how she's holding her legs, but how they're kind of enveloped by the shade here. They're enveloped by, the trees, and seem to be lying underneath some sort of canopy. Maybe they were journeying or whatever it could have been, but the traditional Hanged Man reminds me of, and this is such a great card too, because it really contrasts the traditionalism and the stringentness, I think, of the Hanged Man in the original deck. It reminds me a lot of like Robin Hood, like the concept of like stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, like serfdom, and then revolution and evolving against serfdom and questioning things and looking for your freedom and looking for your rights, but like getting to that point where you've been where you've developed that power. So it's a changed perspective is usually how it's summed up here with the moon. I feel like someone has definitely been inspired. Someone has definitely been influenced by the feminine mystique in one kind of a way or the other, especially with these legs up here like that. And that's the thing, is like, if you don't grow up having close relationships with women, or maybe like your relationship with your mother or your aunts or your grandmother is strained, but like you don't have close cousins or close female cousins or close sisters, or you don't grow up around females in the sense that you have less exposure to just their thought processes, and there's definitely like a tunnel vision aspect here, in the sense that someone could have seen the feminine in one kind of a way, and then the walls are just sort of like enveloping, unfolding, that's kind of like the impression that this combination of cards gives me. It's just like someone has like been living in tunnel vision, or like living on, you can't see my face, but living like blindsided. How horses have those blinders, and then finally they just kind of fall off, but gradual at the same time, and then just blossoming too, and kind of seeing the world in a new way for the first time. And I think it's definitely related to again, a feminine mystique with the Nine of Pentacles and the moon here. The Wheel. Yeah, again, the Wheel of Fortune. So this is like literally the Wheel of Fortune. The titling is very indicative of what it means. It's a cyclical element as well. Like as I mentioned, as we sat down, that we're in 6 weeks, 7 weeks is going to be spring, and that will be like that in terms of the seasons changing for at least thousands of years until, who knows what's going to happen to this planet after, a million, billion, however many years. But the cyclical element of, the Earth constantly kind of revolving around the sun and the solar system revolving around itself, and everything kind of comes back around. So divine karma for sure is also on the table in a very positive sense, in a sense that you can't even control here with the moon and the hangman and the wheel, but you're definitely making the most of it with the hangman as well. It's a nice reading. Yeah, my last reading was so gnarly. I was like, oh my god, like, what has someone been telling you? Like, maybe someone's been like, stupid people don't know they're stupid, typically. The Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, so the Knight of Pentacles is the Page of Pentacles, and it's all about like finding your stability and finding what you do and do not like. And apparently this man here likes to get ladies, nice and tipsy. he likes to have them lay back. Oh, you don't have to worry about anything. Let me just feed you this, delicious wine. And there's also like a planning element to it as well. The Pentacles are strategic in the sense that like architects are great examples of like what a Pentacle person represents. And they still have to plan out everything in complexity, and they have an understanding of mathematics, and they have understanding of the weather, and they have understanding of the soil, and like there's definitely someone who has been learning along the way and adapting to their environment. Let's see. Yeah, there's adaptation here. That's a great way to sum it up. So Nine of Pentacles. So who is the Nine of Pentacles? What's going on with this energy here? Is it lustful? Is it not lustful? Is it obsessive? Page of Cups. Yeah, so the Page of Cups, I love, I always equate it to like Shakespearean, kind of like very romantic, very dreamy, very Midsummer's Night's Dream. I was actually just watching Moulin Rouge recently, and that movie is just so iconic in so many ways and uses so many iconic references. Like there's Nirvana in it, there's the Police, there's the Beatles, there's Madonna, there's I forgot that song. There's Sound of the Music that was sung by Julia. Oh man, I feel so bad I don't remember her full name. And then there is like Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and just like all the artistic references. So beautiful. And then Ewan McGregor's character, I think his name is Christian, really did remind me of a Cups gentleman, like either the page or the knight or the king. I couldn't decide if he was a knight or a king. I wasn't sure. I feel like after that movie, he could have, graduated from his kingdom or king knightship. But this Page of Cups is kind of just like, this is definitely like Romeo in the sense that he's a 14-year-old romantic who's, navigating life with his heart wide open. So this is a nice little lovely combination here. It's someone's definitely has romantic feelings for someone out there. The Moon. Let's see what's going on with the Moon. Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands are all about communication and action, and the Four of Wands is like what people equate to like the twin flame card. So it's like divine love in that essence, and like perfect duality, and like even back to the Moulin Rouge. I love that movie. When I first saw it, I think I was like 13 or 14 when I first saw it, and I was obsessed with it. I remember going on vacation with my family, and I was just like was asking my father, I'm like, Dad, can I please just go back to the room and watch Moulin Rouge? And he let me. He's like, sure, yeah, whatever. So I went back to the room and watched Moulin Rouge. Like, I was so obsessed with it. And it also reminds me, like, the same kind of feeling that a movie like that elicited me was when I saw Star Wars 2 for the second time, when Christian Hayden-Sand had grown up and he was like a 16, 17-year-old boy. And I was like, I remember driving home after I saw it in the movies and just like lying down in the back of in my dad's car as we were driving home and just like looking up. It was just like, it wasn't fully dark yet. It was like just around dusk, and you could kind of see stars pop up, and I was just like looking at the stars and like, oh my God, like it's just like very breathtaking is I think is what this energy is, with the moon and the Four of Wands, like something that it has a very positive sort of influence on you, but there's like a wonder aspect to it. And even back to Moulin Rouge, like the harmonies in it, like I love the song Roxanne. Like I've watched that song, that clip on YouTube multiple times, because it just, the harmonies are so beautiful with the original like Roxanne kind of depiction, and then also Ewan McGregor's part. It's just so catchy in your head, and you don't know why you love it so much. Like that's the kind of feeling that this combination elicits here for me. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, so Eight of Pentacles here, it's all about building as well. And sometimes people can only really focus on themselves, like they have too much going on with the background of their life, that they need to be able to like build their own thing, or just, that's kind of what it's like, a stable energy for sure. It's like putting your head down and just kind of minding your own business and working your way through the day, but finding spiritual meaning in that as well, like finding purpose in your day-to-day life, even if it does seem somewhat mundane. Death. Yeah, so this is Scorpio energy. We saw death in my previous reading actually, and this is a really great card of transformation. And I recently just watched a tarot reading and I loved it actually. They used it as a metaphor for caterpillars evolving into, coming into butterflies. So we go into our cocoon and then we come out a beautiful, beautiful butterfly here with the Wheel of Fortune. Like that's definitely the kind of positive energy or perspective that it might be. Here with the Eight of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Page of Cups, it's definitely like learning. It's like finding stability in what is actually life, and maybe also elevating beyond the social narrative, elevating beyond the status quo, like finding your own perspective and giving that perspective meaning. Like in my last reading, I talked about how like spiders are usually very like they're not appreciated animals, and me like I personally think that spiders are good luck. I think that they're good for the health of your household, and I think that they kill a lot of bugs and keep it clean for the most part. But that's not, I'm not the norm in thinking that. Like most people, like that's like kind of unheard of. It's not even like a folklore or anything. It's just like my own personal take on it. But there's that kind of energy here, in the sense that someone has the capacity to really make their own definitions in their life, and maybe they're kind of shaking off the status quo. So let's see what the major theme is. So Knight of Pentacles. What is the Knight of Pentacles looking to do? Judgment. Enough said. So today I was kind of just intrigued by gossip generally, and like why people do gossip and the purpose of gossip. And there's this really great scene in Doubt that Philip Seymour Hoffman was giving a eulogy, or maybe not a eulogy. I think it was a eulogy to the church, and he was also at the same time being ridiculed, and rightfully so, for molesting young boys within the church, or young altar boys or whatever it is. And Meryl Streep was the lead nun, the lead female character and the nun in that movie. But there's this really great scene where he's like, gossip is when you rip open up a pillow of feathers and you let them catch in the wind. And then what I want you to do now is find every single one of those feathers and put them back in the suitcase, or back in the pillowcase. And it's just a really beautiful scene. I don't think it's necessarily as beautiful as Moulin Rouge Roxanne. Like, that's just like, I was watching it recently. Like, I'm obsessed. But there's my own judgment there. I think that it's a little less iconic, a little bit more serious for sure, but using your own judgment in terms of like what is good and what's bad. And usually, a lot of what our judgment is defined by what the status quo says is right or wrong. And it's good to have that moral boundary, that moral line, but like what makes people revolutionaries, what makes people different, what makes people whistleblowers, what makes, things evolve is questioning things in a way where they've not been questioned before. Like, a lot of people don't appreciate abstract art because they look at it and they're just like, oh, I could do this. It's so easy. But it's not necessarily a fact if it's easy or hard. It's the train of thought where you create something that necessarily hasn't been created before in the capacity that it was actually created. It's more so the originating thought. Like, I don't know the name of the painter, but it was basically just like, splatter, like paint splatter. He's a very famous, like, surrealist painter. I think of the 60s. The name is like, oh man, I'm not even gonna try. But like, that hadn't been done before in terms of the feelings that it evokes in the viewer, and getting rid of all of the boundaries, getting rid of all of the definitions of what we consider art, and then like having like the surrealist movement or having the abstract movement. Like, that is what I'm just using that as an example because that's what's so revolutionary about being able to think in a different way. And a lot of people think that they're more different than they actually are, but they're just sort of not really questioning the status quo as much as they should be. Even if like you look different, like you have piercings, tattoos, like you're into hipster alternative culture. That's still like it still like adheres to a large portion of the population. Like, most people do have tattoos now. Like, most people do have multiple piercings now. Like, most people are not aligned with traditionalism as it was 30 or 40 years ago. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that what you have to question, like, what is actually thinking differently, like what is actually standing out from the crowd, like what defines that. Like, punk is still a movement in itself. Like, I feel like people don't really realize this about me because I have no tattoos and I have no piercings, and like I look pretty traditional and I have a traditional job, but I'm incredibly punk. I'm so punk I don't even identify as being punk. And like when someone calls me a punk, I just feel like so seen. But I'm just using it as an example because like even that fits into a cohort of like, you know, a group of people in the world. And what is punk rock? Like, what does it mean to be punk? Like, what, you know? So here with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like also someone's learning all of this, so that I just explained, like they're learning that maybe the status quo isn't actually the accurate judgment of how, you know, reality unfolds. Like maybe the social narrative like isn't actually like, you know, where meaning is. Like a lot of people think there's meaning in like, you know, you get married at 25, you move in, you buy your first house at 30, you know, have kids, and then you retire. But like there have been millions of people who've lived the same types of lives. You know, they worked 40-hour weeks for 40 years and then retired and went on vacation, and like that's meaningful in itself, or like their you know, there's stability in it. But it's also just like that's not all there is. So hopefully I didn't get too profound. So let's see what's going on with the Nine of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is also like, it's a very positive reflection of like pick your poison. Like pick your poison. Do you want to confess your love, or do you want to hold it down and remain withdrawn and calm? There's like that duality to it. Like, do I want to travel the world, or do I want to go to school? Do I want to marry rich, or do I want to marry for love? Like there's that sort of element in decision making here with the Page of Cups as well. But regarding love, for sure, with the Nine of Pentacles and Page of Cups, like, do I want someone who is exactly like me, or do I want someone who's my opposite? And most people think that being with someone who's exactly like you will like manifest into the perfect relationship. But it's really interesting because it doesn't. I was listening to this, you know, relationship therapist about what makes a relationship successful, and a lot of that, what makes a relationship successful is independent of like religion, political status, like you know, ethnicity, that kind of thing. Like none of that matters. What matters, the highest indication of a divorce were addiction issues, and I think that like that's the hard line of functioning in a healthy relationship or not. And I'm just trying to encourage more open-minded ways of thinking, because what you might want might not necessarily be what you need. Like again, in Moulin Rouge, like Satine, Nicole Kidman, who steals the show 100%. Like I was watching her stand next to Ewan McGregor and like sing, and like Ewan McGregor is like also gorgeous and so talented, but like all eyes on Nicole Kidman, like that's for sure. Like you see her standing within like a group of 8 men like dancing, and it's like everyone's looking at Nicole Kidman because she's freaking Nicole Kidman, you know. But my point here is that and this also is like very like, you know, that's definitely the vibe here. It's very relevant at this point in time. So I feel like the cards are just unfolding as they were, or just I'm seeing it that kind of way, because that's the thing too I wanted to say before I put the Two of Pentacles down, is that the more I get into tarot, the more I can pick out certain characters in movies and certain people, and what it's easier for me with characters than real life people, because I feel like real life people there's a little bit more complexity and depth, obviously. And it's a little bit more elemental than just, you know, a 1 hour movie. But as soon as I watched it, I haven't seen Moulin Rouge in a decade, and I saw Ian McGregor open the movie, and I'm just like, oh my god, that is a Knight of Cups, King of Cups. So my point here is that if everyone's healthy and there aren't underlying issues, toxic issues, then it's probably just fine. Like, addiction issues are the biggest indicator of toxic marriages and divorce rates. And it's really too bad, because in this country, 30% of the population are addicted to opiates. You know, they have some sort of, addiction to oxycodone, or I don't even know what all the opiates are. But if it's not an opiate, then it's alcohol. If it's not alcohol, then it's, marijuana. If it's not marijuana, then it's, cocaine or whatever it is. There's a lot of addiction issues I find that go on, and they're really hard to overcome. But I talked about it in one of my other readings. But it's not really the vibe of this. Like, there's no toxicity here. I just wanted to go in depth here because there's that balancing, like, do I want to, like, marry for love? Do I want to marry for money? Do I want to, I think you get the idea regarding love. So let's see. The Moon, 4 of Wands, Ace of Wands. Yeah, so this is like a very phallic card. A lot of this is like the divine masculine and all of his divinity. So someone definitely has the hots for someone too here, and it's just, maybe it's all kind of behind closed doors. There was definitely a phallic on the table, but also like an action and message. Like, this is all about action. Here with the Moon and 4 of Wands, like, this is like, why mammals have evolved to be internal with how they evolve their young, where like everything else is an egg. Like reptiles are eggs, frogs are eggs, chicken are eggs, dinosaurs were eggs. Like, evolving our fetuses within the female body, like, that's the type of mystery. Like, why, like, like, it just made more sense evolutionarily, like, when there's still like tons of species on this planet who use different types of methods, but it's that action aspect of it, in the sense where you're pregnated internally. Like, that's like, that's the vibe. That oomph. I'm so funny. Oh my god. 8 of Pentacles and the Hangman. Let's see. The Sun. Yeah, so I love that this is a way more positive reading than we had in my last. It was just like gaslighting galore. And the Sun is the direct opposite of the Moon, obviously, and the Sun is masculine, and it's, all the positivity and radiance, and it's the most positive card in the deck. So someone's definitely changed for the better here. Someone's definitely had a change of perspective that's for their benefit. Even if they had their head down the whole time, or they were focusing on other things, they were able to evolve in some kind of a way, which is nice. Let's see, Death and the Wheel of Fortune. The Devil. Oh, here she is. Here he is. So this is Capricorn energy, the Devil. This is like, I equate the devil and the meaning of the devil to the snake tempting Eve in the Garden of Eden. And then you have characters like Lilith play in. Like this here with Death, the Wheel, and the Devil is really like that dark energy that we also rely on, like like the Lilith energy for sure. Like there's a magnetism and a divinity and a beauty and an aggrandizement, and it's like very vampy energy here with the Wheel of Fortune and death and the devil. And I actually loved True Blood growing up. I was like obsessed with True Blood. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Alexander Skarsgård is like, oh my god, like yes, like yes, I want to see 6'4" Scandinavian men shirtless. like talk about like appealing to your target market. I was like a 16-year-old girl, and I was like, oh my god, Alexander Skarsgård. But there's in that movie, in vampires in general, there's like a very like divine, like respectful element to it. Like this is also like the Volturi and Twilight. And I remember also like I read a lot as a kid. Like I was reading all the time from like 11 to like 14, and then when I as soon as I like got older than 14, I was just like I decided to spend my time in other ways, and and so the Volturi, I'm just like, I remember like finding Twilight before Stephanie Meyer blew up, and I was actually in middle school. I was like, I think I was 11 or 12, and there was a book fair, and I remember seeing the cover, and she had only 2 books out at that time, or maybe New Moon wasn't even published yet, and I read Twilight, and I was just like, oh my god, like I would read it in class, and my teacher would tell me to put the book down. But it's just so like targeting, like finding your target market for sure. Like every young girl wants to daydream about this sexy vampire that like is so dark and mysterious and like has this whole other element to it. But there's magic too here with the Wheel of Fortune and death. So someone might be experimenting with black magic as well. I highly advise you against that. I think that it's very dangerous to do that, especially when you don't know where someone falls on the spiritual chart and their degree of spiritualism. And people do protection spells and that kind of thing. Like this is like the only thing I actually mess with in terms of divinity. And even like I used to burn a lot of candles, but I never actually like took an active part in what people might call candle magic. I just like the aesthetic of it, and I like the vibe and the glow and that kind of thing. But there are people who do delve in that kind of thing, and I warn you against that. I think that it's really bad karma. It's really bad energy to kind of like wish ill on other people, especially when you don't know who they really are. Or what they're thinking, and that's, and like people who have bad karma, this is bad karma actually, death and the devil and the wheel. It's like vamps also hate themselves because they can't die. It reminds me a lot of that movie with Charlize Theron. I forgot what it's called. I think it's really interesting. I actually really like that movie as well. Where they're immortal. I think it's like probably just called like Immortals or something. And it's like a group of her and like 6 other people, and they can't die. And Charlize Theron had been alive for like thousands of years. Like I think some people believed her to be like Athena, like the Greek goddess at one point. But there's a scene in there where she had her lover that she met at one point, whatever, like 1000 AD in China, in Mongolia, and and they accused them of witchery and ended up putting her in a steel box and dumped her into the ocean, where the thing is, he also couldn't die, so she would be constantly drowning. So she was the feeling of drowning for thousands of years, for like 1,000 years or 500 years, whatever it was. Like just imagine that kind of feeling. So there's something a little torturous here, unfortunately. And 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, but steady as a beating drum, as they say. So the Four of Pentacles is all like fours are all about stability, equality, equilibrium. I think is a good depiction of what the Four of Pentacles is. But there's also stubbornness as well. Here with like the Page of Pentacles and then the Four of Pentacles, like someone is still very much in their learning stage, their building stage, but then they've developed in a spiritual sense where they can actually use their own judgment in one way or another. Oh, this reading's been so long already. Goodness. Let's see. I'm just gonna get a few clarifiers. So, all right, who's who? Who's who? Knight of Pentacles. There he is. Okay. So who's who? Knight of Pentacles. So Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Wanting to give someone an offer, maybe. Five of Pentacles, being left out in the cold. There are other things that had to happen before someone can move on to their love life or build a relationship. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's inevitable. That's another thing. Is like it's inevitable. Like it's inevitable that the snake in the Garden of Eden tempted Eve. Like that's just part of what reality is. It's the duality aspect to it. It's yin and yang. It's light and dark. It's good and bad. Like there's two sides to every story. Like love and hate are the same side or different sides of the same coin. Like that kind of duality aspect here. But in the sense where someone like I forgot what I was gonna say. Shucks. Oh, I hate when that happens to me. Man. Yeah, I'll probably end up calling this something along the lines of along building your foundation, like you finally found or you're learning what the right judgment is. Like that's the vibe. Like someone's definitely learning what the right judgment is. They're looking at both sides of the coin. They're looking at, all the different perspectives involved. They're using their own mind rather than following what the status quo or what the social narrative or what other people have to say. And me, as I would like to think a free will individual, think that that is one of the most important things you need for a happy life. So take care, everyone. Hope you have a great night. Love, light, and blessings.